West Africa's regional bloc ECOWAS has rejected the Niger junta's proposal for delayed elections. ECOWAS also reasserted its demand for the release of the country's detained president Mohamed Bazoum. Last week, Niger's coup leader, General Abdulrahmane Tiani, proposed transitioning to civilian rule over a period of 3 years. The 2023 Brics summit is underway in the South African city of Johannesburg. The leaders of India, China and Brazil are attending in person. Russia is being represented by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Brics members discussed the potential expansion of the group. China has proposed the inclusion of Iran, while Brazil has asked for the inclusion of Argentina. India has cautioned against a rushed expansion. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says at least 40 nations are interested in joining Brics. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva showed support for a common trading currency for members of the Brics group. He added that other nations that share the vision of Brics should also be allowed to trade in the common currency. However, Lula also said that Brics did not pose any challenge to the US dollar or the G7 grouping. Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the Brics Dialogue Forum yesterday. The Prime Minister said that India was looking at becoming a $5 trillion economy soon. He also urged Brics members and other invited countries to make India's Unified Payments Interface or UPI available in their nations. India will attempt to make history by being the first to land on the moon's south pole later today. The Chandrayaan 3 moon lander is set to touch down at 6 p.m. local time. Officials of the Indian Space Research Organisation or ISRO say, and I quote, "All operations are normal and on course." Pakistani officials safely rescued 7 children and 1 teacher from a cable car that was stranded mid-air yesterday. This was after students heading to school via the cable car became stranded after one of the cables snapped. The operation lasted over 15 hours. The Pakistani army was deployed for the rescue mission. Meanwhile, Pakistan's president has ordered an inquiry into the incident. Thailand's former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been hospitalized after spending 1 day in jail. He was rushed to a hospital after he complained of a pain in his chest. Doctors say Shinawatra has high blood pressure. Medical officials say they are monitoring Shinawatra's health conditions. In the US, the first round of the Republican Party's debate for the presidential race begins tonight. 8 candidates of the Grand Old Party will take part in the debate. It's being held in the American city of Milwaukee. However, the leading Republican candidate and former President Donald Trump has pulled out of the debate. Trump says, and I quote, "I already have a lead in the opinion polls. I'm very well known." Meanwhile, authorities in the U.S. state of Texas installed barbed wire fencing on the U.S.-Mexico border. Officials say this has been done to keep asylum seekers from entering America. Texas has also deployed soldiers of the National Guard along the fencing. Last month, Texas officials installed large buoys on the Rio Grande River to prevent the influx of refugees. The U.S. Department of Justice has sued Texas over the buoys, saying they were installed without proper federal approvals. At least 16 people were killed after a bus collided with a trailer in central Mexico yesterday. Officials say 36 people were injured in the accident. 3 of them are on life support. Mexican officials added that the passengers were on their way to the Mexico-US border to seek asylum. Russia says it shot down 3 drones over Moscow early this morning. It says the drones were launched from Ukraine. Officials reported that 2 people were injured from the debris of the intercepted drones. The airspace over Moscow was closed down temporarily again. This is the second consecutive day that a drone reportedly launched from Ukraine targeted Moscow. South Korea has begun 4-day-long nationwide defense drills amid growing tensions with North Korea. Over 4,000 government bodies and almost 600,000 civilians are taking part in the drills. Some of the exercises include defending against a simulated attack on South Korea's capital, Seoul. North Korea has denounced the drills, calling them a rehearsal for war. Meanwhile, hundreds of people took to the streets of South Korea's capital, Seoul. Protesters demanded that Japan roll back its plan to release water from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the ocean. Demonstrators included members of South Korea's fishing community. They said that there was growing concern of fish being affected by the water from Fukushima. However, the South Korean government says that it sees no problem with Japan's plan to release the water. In climate news, heavy flooding took place in the Latin American nation of Colombia. This was after Tropical Storm Franklin made landfall. The storm is expected to strengthen over the next 2 days. Weather experts have said that wind and rains will batter several parts of Colombia. New footage shows the flooding of the Teno River in the South American nation of Chile. A huge amount of brown water was seen overflowing, which caused portions of a highway to collapse. Chile's president has declared a state of emergency in 4 regions of the country. Tropical storm Harold made landfall in the U.S. state of Texas yesterday. It brought strong winds and heavy downpours. Thousands of people in Texas are without power. Forecasters have warned of possible flash flooding and minor damages to structures and buildings. Firefighters in the U.S. state of Washington are battling 2 major fires. According to reports, at least 2 people have died. The Oregon Road fire has burned over 4,000 hectares and destroyed 80 structures. The Gray Fire, on the other hand, threatens more than 800 residential structures in Washington. Wildfires continue to burn in the Greek capital of Athens. The fires sent plumes of smoke into the air. Aircraft dropped water on the blaze in an attempt to control the Athenian fires. Wildfires have engulfed several villages in northwestern Turkey. Footage shows flames burning houses. These houses were evacuated earlier in the day. The fires have prompted the evacuation of 6 villages in its path. This is according to Turkey's Agriculture and Forest Ministry. In Venice, tourists are battling scorching temperatures. This comes as heat wave Nero hit Italy this week. Humidity levels are also expected to be high. The heat wave is likely to last until the end of this week. Weather forecasters expect temperatures to rise to 38 degrees Celsius in several parts of Italy. Now on to business and tech news. Huawei Technologies is reportedly building secret semiconductor facilities across China. These facilities will likely help Beijing skirt US sanctions. Reports say the tech giant moved into chip production last year. It is reportedly receiving about $30 billion in funding from the Chinese government. Reports say the US antitrust regulator is expected to open an investigation into semiconductor maker Qualcomm. This is over its purchase of the Israeli chip maker Autotalks. Autotalks makes chips used in crash prevention technology in vehicles. The deal would help Qualcomm expand its automotive-related businesses. The US has fined Japanese financial firm Nomura Holdings. Nomura has agreed to pay a fine of $35 million. This comes over a decade-long criminal fraud probe against the company by the US Department of Justice. The company's traders have been accused of lying to customers about bond prices in order to boost profits. The New York Stock Exchange has suspended trading in the stock warrants of WeWork. This is due to abnormally low trading price levels. A stock warrant is an employer-issued contract allowing customers to buy a company's stock at a set price. Earlier this month, WeWork warned about its inability to continue business. Shares of the American retail chain Dick's Sporting Goods have lost as much as a quarter of their value. This was after the retailer posted a drop in its profits and slashed its earnings outlook. The company's shares were on track for their worst day ever on Tuesday. The footwear giant blamed retail thefts and severance costs for a dip in their second quarter profit. American fitness giant Peloton is looking to partner with college campuses to expand its growth. Under its new strategy, the fitness equipment maker will co-brand apparel and bikes. It will also offer discounts on its app for students. Peloton also plans to run social media campaigns featuring student athletes. The University of Michigan is the first institute that has agreed to partner with Peloton for the project. Indian stationery maker DOMS has filed for an initial public offering with the Indian markets regulator. The company aims to raise nearly $150 million through the listing. DOMS aims to use the proceeds to partly finance a new manufacturing facility. Meta Platforms has asked a court in Norway to retract a fine issued against it. Earlier this month, Norway's data regulator charged the company for breaching user privacy. Meta is now asking for a temporary injunction against the order. The Facebook parent argues that it has now agreed to ask for consent from users before collecting their data, and therefore the fine should be rescinded. Meanwhile, US lawmakers have held up the tech giant in another case. They say that Facebook's marketplace still widely sells recalled baby products. This is despite requests from federal regulators to take them down. The recalled products are linked to more than 100 infant deaths. Several TikTok users in Somalia have said they oppose the country's ban on the social media platform. Users have said that they use the platform to earn money and work. They say the ban would potentially hurt their business. Earlier this week, Somalia banned TikTok, the messaging app Telegram, and online betting website 1xBet. This was to limit the spread of propaganda through the applications. Moving to sports, Zimbabwe's former cricket captain Heath Streak was rumoured to be dead. The announcement was made by his former teammate Henry Olonga on social media. Firstpost reached out to Streak to confirm the news. He dismissed the rumours himself. Olonga tweeted again today to confirm that Streak is alive. In football, Spain's acting Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez criticized Luis Rubiales for his gesture at the Women's World Cup. Rubiales is Spain's Football Federation chief. He had kissed a Spanish player during post-match celebrations at the World Cup. His action sparked outrage from several government ministers. Sanchez has condemned his unacceptable gesture and demanded further clarification. Manchester United's Mason Mount will not play in the next two Premier League matches. The 24-year-old midfielder has suffered an injury. This was during Man United's match against Tottenham on Saturday. United's next matches are against Nottingham Forest and Arsenal. English Premier League club Burnley have signed English midfielder Aaron Ramsey from Aston Villa. Burnley will reportedly pay Villa over $17 million for Ramsey. The 20-year-old will join Burnley on a 5-year contract. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola will miss his club's next two Premier League matches. The club said he has been suffering severe back pain for some time. He had to fly out to Barcelona for a surgery. Guardiola's assistant Juanma Lilo will take charge until he is back. In badminton, India's Lakshya Sen advanced to the round of 16 at the BWF World Championships. He beat South Korea's Jeon-hyuk Jin 21-11, 21-12 in straight sets. Sen will next face Thailand's Kunlavut Vitit San on Thursday. Meanwhile, India's HS Pranoy also entered the pre-quarterfinal at the BWF World Championships. Pranoy beat his Indonesian counterpart 21-9, 21-14. He will next play Loh Keon Yew of Singapore on Thursday. Kenya's Faith Kipyegon won gold at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest. Kipyegon competed in the women's 1,500-meter track and field event. The defending champion clocked a time of 3 minutes and 54.87 seconds in the final. This is her third consecutive gold in the 1,500-meter race. Olympic champion Stephen Gardiner failed to reach the final at the World Athletics Championships. The 27-year-old sustained an injury in the semi-final of the 400-meter race. Gardiner crashed to the ground in pain with just 100 meters to go. In chess, the FIDE World Cup final began yesterday. Game 1 between India's R. Pragnanandha and Norway's Magnus Carlsen ended in a draw. Both split a point each after the stalemate. The next match takes place today. If Pragnanandha wins the final, he will be the first Indian in over 2 decades to win the title. Now for news from the world of entertainment. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, or AMPTP, has given the details of the proposal discussed with the Writers Guild of America, or WGA. The AMPTP represents some of the major Hollywood studios, while the WGA represents striking writers. The proposal demands a ban on written material produced by generative artificial intelligence from being considered literary material. The AMPTP president has said, and I quote, "Our priority is to end the strike so that valued members of the creative community can return to what they do best." Singer Miley Cyrus has unveiled the full lyrics of her upcoming song, Used to Be Young. Cyrus said these lyrics were written almost 2 years ago when she was working on her latest album, Endless Summer Vacation. She said, and I quote, it was at a time I felt misunderstood. I have spent the last 18 months painting a sonic picture of my perspective to share with you." In the emotional track, Miley Cyrus opens up about Hannah Montana, a character she played on television. The list of performers for the 2023 MTV Video Music Awards has been announced. Singers Demi Lovato, Karol G and Stray Kids are all set to perform live in New Jersey on September 12th. This will be Lovato's first performance on the VMA stage in 6 years. In 2017, she performed her hit song Sorry Not Sorry. Meanwhile, this year will mark Karol G's VMA debut. Stranger Things actor David Harbour has revealed that one of his stepdaughters got a handwritten note by singer Taylor Swift. He said that the gesture left his daughter speechless. Harbour also called Taylor Swift a force of nature. Actor Jennifer Aniston has opened up about how her parents' relationship affected her love life. The actor's parents, John Aniston and Nancy Dow, divorced in 1980. Reflecting on that, Aniston said, and I quote, "Watching my family's relationship did not make me go, oh, I can't wait to do that. I did not like the idea of sacrificing who you were and what you needed." Jennifer Aniston is most popular for playing the role of Rachel Green in hit drama series Friends. The show And Just Like That will be renewed for Season 3. The show is a revival of the hit series Sex and the City. It stars Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon and Kristen Davis in lead roles. The show revolves around friends who navigate their love lives and careers in New York City. Actor Drew Barrymore was escorted off the stage of her own talk show after a man approached her. Barrymore was interviewing actor Rennie Rapp when an audience member called out her name. When the actor tried to continue the conversation, the man walked up to the stage and said, "You know who I am." Both actors swiftly exited the stage but returned to finish the chat after the situation was brought under control. Model Heidi Klum has revealed that she does not consume more than 900 calories in a day. While speaking to a news publication, Klum said she starts her day with a low-fat breakfast that includes 3 poached eggs in warm chicken broth. Medical experts say that women who lead a sedentary lifestyle must take in about 1,800 calories in a day, and those who lead an active lifestyle should consume at least 2,200 calories. Armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who worked on the movie Rust, will face trial in 2024. She faces charges of involuntary manslaughter and evidence tampering. This is in the case of the accidental fatal shooting of a cinematographer by actor Alec Baldwin during a rehearsal. Gutierrez-Reed has pleaded not guilty to the charges. The incident took place in October 2021. TV producer and director David Jacobs has died aged 84. He battled Alzheimer's for several years. Jacobs was the creator of the primetime series Knots Landing and Dallas. Both primetime soap operas ran for 14 seasons and for more than 700 episodes.
Hello, Namaskar. This is Firstpost and you